And welcome to this edition of the Native News Update on this Thursday, June 7th. I'm your host for today's program, Paul DeMain, and many of the stories we read here can also be found at our website at IndianCountryTV.com. And here are a few of those stories from Indian Country that we're seeing today. Central New York Historical Society is returning artifacts including a rare wampum belt, believed to have been more than 2 centuries old, to an Iroquois tribe. The wampum belt will be repatriated to the Onondaga Indian Nation during a ceremony June 12th at the Onondaga Historical Association's museum in Syracuse, New York. According to Greg Tripoli, the association's executive director, the historical organization has recently returned human skeletal remains and several sacred ceremony masks to the Onondaga, whose reservation is south of Syracuse. The repatriation of the artifacts, first reported by the Post-Standard of Syracuse, was prompted by a now-deceased Onondaga clan mother who told the association's new executive director that his organization had items belonging to the tribe, including the wampum belt. Tripoli said it is believed that the Onondaga, the other wampum belts, many of them, were lost when American troops destroyed Onondaga and other Iroquois villages during the American Revolutionary War, and the belt was obtained in 1919 by a Syracuse historian who worked for years with the Onondaga. A Crowpoint woman has entered a plea to charges of stealing thousands of dollars from a Navajo organization. The U.S. Attorney of New Mexico says 36-year-old Shavna April Bibo pled guilty to embezzlement and theft charges. Prosecutor says Bibo embezzled at least $39,000 from the Little Water Chapter House on the Navajo Nation. Bibo is accused of forging more than 50 checks from a business account while working as an administrative assistant at the Chapter House in 2009, according to the indictment. Prosecutors say Bibo made the checks out to herself, cashing them for her own personal use. They say she did this until Chapter House officials exposed her conduct and fired her. Bibo faces a maximum sentence of 5 years. A tribal school administrator has been hired as the superintendent of the Red Cloud Indian School on the Pine Ridge Reservation in South Dakota. Ted Hamilton is now superintendent of a tribal school in Sisseton. He will succeed Robert Braveheart Sr. Braveheart will become Red Cloud's executive vice president. Hamilton has worked as an archivist, library director, and education consortium director during more than 25 years in Indian education. He formerly worked on the Pine Ridge Reservation and still has a home in Porcupine, South Dakota. Hamilton is working towards a doctoral degree in educational administration at the University of Nebraska at Lincoln. A federal judge has sentenced 2 Navajo men for the murder of another tribal member and the assault of his son. The U.S. Attorney's Office in Albuquerque said 21-year-old Brian Thompson of Standing Rock and 22-year-old Presley Shorty of Little Water received prison terms recently. Authorities say Thompson, Shorty, and 2 other men fatally shot Vinton Wally on September 4, 2010 in a gang-related confrontation at a Little Water housing complex. Police said they also assaulted Vinton Wally's son, Nathaniel, who was shot in the back. As part of the plea deal, Thompson will serve more than 15 years in prison. Shorty, who also struck a plea deal, will serve at least 5 years. Oklahoma-born actor Wes Studi will be the guest speaker at the Oklahoma History Center next week. Oklahoma Historical Society Executive Director Bob Blackburn will lead a discussion about Studi, who is of Cherokee descent, on June 11th at the Oklahoma City Museum. Studi's early years, the image of Native Americans in film, and his role in movies such as Dances with Wolves and The Last of the Mohicans and Geronimo will be examined. Photographs from his off-screen life and clips from some of his memorable roles in film will also be shown. The opening of the new exhibit, Oklahoma's at the Movies, will coincide with Studi's appearance. Go see the actor. And that is another roundup of news from Indian Country on this edition of the Native News Update. We want to thank you for joining with us, and come back tomorrow when Kim Acosta will be your anchor.